From the investigative unit, we're getting a rare opportunity to see what happens inside the Attorney General's cybercrime unit.
Yes, state investigators work to catch men and women who prey on children, and the caseload grows day by day. Our chief investigator, Chris Nakamoto, has more.
The hands hammering out words on this keyboard are not those of a child.
So I use a fictitious name,
but a highly skilled investigator
and a computer-generated picture.
Trained to get child predators off of our streets. The people on the other end of the internet think they're talking to children.
It's probably one of the more clean ones that I can show you because they get pretty graphic.
We are concealing the identity of this Attorney General investigator because of the nature of his undercover work.
Do you have on a nightie, or are you in panties? Do you have any hair down there? And it just kind of escalates from there, and then it'll get more sexual in nature.
What typically starts off as an innocent conversation gets inappropriate fast.
And a lot of times the guys will send images of themselves masturbating while they're talking to the kid.
And they typically want photos of the child.
That picture that you see of me is created by Nick Mick. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children will take a female officer's picture and do age regression like they do age progression. They will do age regression to make them look like they're a kid again. And so it's a computer-generated picture, so it's not a real child that we're putting in danger.
This is in real time, yes.
During our visit at the state cybercrime unit, investigators pulled up this map for us. In live, real time, each red dot you see, child getting exploited or child pornography getting shared. In about an hour, you can see the map completely filled up with dots.
It's not just the United States.
In what has become a global issue, investigators have their hands full.
I can tell you that if you gave me an army of people 100 deep, we would have cases for every investigator to work all day long.
This is the proof. Upstairs is a highly secured room where all of the evidence is stored. Only 3 people at the Attorney General's office have access to it. Inside, hundreds upon hundreds of computers, cell phones, iPads, and tablets, all labeled and tagged as evidence. The items in this room seized during raids where adults got caught committing crimes. All of the cases on this shelf are in various stages of prosecution. Some of the cases date back to 2002. Once a case is adjudicated, the Attorney General's office will hold on to all of this evidence for about 3 years if it's one of their cases to allow the appeals process to go through.
A lot of it is waiting. This is all digital evidence, plus a little bit more. We have some clothing and other items in here that the cybercrime unit at the Attorney General's office processes in the digital lab.
And so this is just taken.
Every digital item seized is then taken apart by a team of computer whizzes. They examine hard drives to make sure the pictures or child solicitation occurred on these devices.
And we have 9 full-time digital analysts that go through all of this evidence that you see in this room.
The work being done at the Attorney General's office is getting results.
Yes, he was arrested.
The convicts and suspects involved run the gamut from everyday Joes to public officials. This year, Wilson Longenecker, the former mayor of Sorrento, agreed to a plea deal. And just last week, the district fire chief of the Gonzales Fire Department, Chris Johnson, was arrested. Both of these cases spearheaded by the Attorney General's office. Newly elected AG Jeff Landry promises to dedicate all means necessary to those who target our kids.
We are going to aggressively pursue and investigate people who prey on children and bring them to justice.
As these red dots highlight an alarming problem in our society, the hands on this keyboard will continue scouring the dark corners of the web, looking for child predators as they focus on new challenges.
As technology advances, we as law enforcement have to keep up with that technology, so we are constantly learning and moving and having to move into different realms that we weren't there a couple months prior.
According to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, last year there were 4.5 million cases of children being sexually abused, child porn traded, and enticing kids online. For the investigative unit, I'm Chris Nakamoto.
Just yesterday, the Attorney General's office busted this Baton Rouge man on more than 100 counts of child porn. Investigators say Robert Hathaway told them they'll find more than 1,000 files on his computer. The AG's office says some of his victims are infants.
To report a child that you know that's being sexually abused or exploited, you can call the number you see on your screen. We've also posted that number and more information at our website, WBRZ.com. Fascinating story from Chris.
Very interesting, all the work that they do.
Yeah.
So, all right, we're talking more